Argentina's Javier Milei just racked up an impressive win, turning a massive deficit into their first budget surplus in 12 years, all just 9.5 weeks after taking office. Note, the deficit was projected at 5% of GDP under the previous government, so in U.S. terms, he turned a $1.2 trillion annual deficit into a $400 billion surplus in 9.5 weeks. How did he do it? Easy. He cut a bevy of agency budgets by 50% while slashing crony contracts and activist handouts. For perspective, if you cut the entirety of Washington's budget by 50%, you would save a cool $3 trillion and start paying down the national debt. Dare we dream? Moreover, it turns out it can be done and the world does not actually collapse. In previous videos, I've mentioned Milei's been logging some impressive wins. He slashed crony regulation, got rid of currency controls, an important step to dollarization, and he recently slashed rent prices by removing controls. That actually led to a near overnight doubling of apartments for rent in Buenos Aires, so they got cheap. Unfortunately, it's not all smooth sailing. A bill to privatize corrupt state-owned companies to effectively de-Sovietize the Argentine economy was blocked by the socialist opposition because they serve the government unions who would lose their jobs. Meanwhile, a major reform to make it a lot easier to hire people was struck down by the High Court, who said it has to go through Congress, which will block it since, you guessed it, it hurts unions. Still, for the average Argentinian, these are deck chairs on the Titanic compared to the ongoing hyperinflation. Recently, monthly inflation came in at 20.6%. That's on the month. That was a lot better than the outgoing government, but it still left year-on-year inflation at 254%. Why so high? Partly because Milei had to free up the exchange rate to smooth the path to dollarization for Argentina adopting the US dollar instead of the local confetti, but mostly because the rivers of money printed up by the socialists continue to run through the battered ruins they left of Argentina's economy. After all, Milei has only been in office for 9.5 weeks. So what's next? Brought to you by Unchained.com. Milei's reforms will continue to be trench warfare, but his inflation progress is going to be the key to retaining public support. He just notched a big win on the deficit, but it only stops the bleeding. The patient is still on life support. To fully kill Argentina's hyperinflation, Milei needs real progress on either dollarization or, dare we dream, a gold standard. Now, in dollarization, that might involve, say, announcing a months-long window for peso assets to be revalued in dollars and then switch the economy over completely. He's been preparing the groundwork so far. The currency controls and deficits are a big help, and he is surely motivated to do it since dollarization in other countries that did it has 90% public support after the fact. But it's a complicated process, and if done badly, he'll be dead in the water politically. The stakes are high, not just for Argentina. If Milei succeeds, he'll be a model for radically shrinking government in other countries in Latin America and the rest of the world, and even for our spineless goblins in Washington. Read the full article with charts and all at profstantonge.com. Okay, we'll be watching. See you next time.